You're not imagining it. There really is someone actively working against you. That feeling of being constantly undermined, of having your work stolen, of always being one step behind your rival. It's real, and the advice you always hear, to be the bigger person. That's exactly why you're losing. That advice is a trap, set by the comfortable to keep the ambitious down. It's a lullaby meant to put you to sleep, while your rival takes your life apart, piece by piece. They steal credit for your wins, sabotage your projects, and spread rumors that make you look incompetent. They aren't playing the same game as you. They're playing to win. But what if you could flip the board? What if you had a playbook filled with strategies so powerful they've been used by the most dominant figures in history to crush their enemies? This isn't about petty disagreements. This is about survival. Niccolo Machiavelli wrote his masterpiece, The Prince, not for gangsters, but as a guide for leaders on how to gain and keep power in the real world. He understood that politics, whether in a king's court or a modern office, is a battlefield. To win, he argued, you have to see the world as it is, not as you wish it were. This is your guide to that world. We're not here to talk about fairness or kindness. Those are luxuries. This is about war. In this video, I'm going to lay out 10 Machiavellian strategies that will show you how to win. These aren't feel-good platitudes. They are cold hard psychological tactics designed, for one thing, to give you absolute dominance. If you're not prepared to be ruthless, to be cunning, and to see this fight through to the end, then this video is not for you. But if you're tired of losing, tired of being outmaneuvered, and ready to take the victory you deserve, then listen very carefully. Your education in power starts now. Strategy 1. Become the fox and the lion. The first principle you have to master is the art of duality. Machiavelli famously said that a leader must be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. This isn't a suggestion, it's a command. The world and your rival wants to put you in a box. Are you aggressive or passive? Smart or strong? The moment they think they know you, you become predictable. And predictable people are the easiest to destroy. Your power lies in being both the fox and the lion, and switching between them with cold, calculated precision. The fox is the master of deception and strategy. The fox never picks a fight. It gathers intelligence, it watches patterns, learns weaknesses, and understands the complex web of alliances in its environment. At work, the fox listens more than it talks. It pays attention in meetings, not just to what's being said, but to who looks at whom when a decision is being made. The fox knows the most important information is never said out loud. It projects warmth and friendliness to disarm people, making them feel like they're talking to a friend, not a strategist. People let their guard down, revealing their fears, their ambitions, their weaknesses. This is the information you'll use to set your traps. The lion, on the other hand, is all about overwhelming force. The lion doesn't scheme, it acts. Its power comes from its proven capacity for ruthlessness. When the lion strikes, it's not to warn or to wound. It's to annihilate. There are no half measures. You use this persona when a line has been crossed and a message has to be sent. If a rival steals your idea, the fox gathers the evidence. The emails, the drafts, the times. The lion then presents that evidence in a way that leaves no room for argument, ensuring the credit is restored and the thief is exposed. The fear you create isn't of your temper, but of your thoroughness. Your rival will be ready for one or the other. They'll brace for a roar and be met with strategic silence. They'll set a trap for a fox, only to have it smashed by the paw of a lion. This constant, unpredictable shifting between cunning and force will create deep psychological unease in your enemy. They will never know which version of you they're dealing with. That uncertainty is a weapon. It forces them to second-guess everything, to live in a state of anxiety. And while they're paralyzed by confusion, you are free to act. You're not playing their game anymore. They're trapped in yours. Strategy 2. Master the art of perception. Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." This is the second pillar of your strategy. In the war for power, reality doesn't matter as much as you think. The real battlefield isn't the office. It's the minds of the people around you. Whoever controls the narrative controls the outcome. You need to stop worrying about what's true and start controlling what is perceived as true. Your rival has probably been doing this to you for years, painting you as emotional, unreliable, or weak. Now, you're taking the brush. Your first job is to build a public image of unwavering.com. In any conflict, you don't just fight, you perform. When your enemy loses their temper, you are serene. When te rage, you are unmoved. When they throw insults, you offer a disarming smile or, even better, strategic silence. The contrast makes them look unhinged, while you appear to be the picture of rational authority. Never fight them on their home turf. Drag them onto yours. If they challenge you in a public meeting, don't take the bait. Simply suggest a one-on-one discussion later, in your office, where the very geography reinforces your power. The second part of controlling perception is to project an image of unimpeachable morality, no matter what you're doing behind the scenes. Machiavelli said a leader must appear merciful, faithful, and humane, even if they have to act against those qualities to stay in power. People judge by what they see, so you must be seen as the helpful colleague, the supportive teammate. Praise people publicly. Give credit to others, even for small things. This builds a deep reservoir of goodwill. This carefully built facade does two things. First, it disarms everyone who isn't your direct enemy. They become your unwitting bodyguards. If your rival tries to spread a rumor, people will dismiss it out of hand. That doesn't sound like them at all. They've always been so supportive. You've basically inoculated the public against your enemy's attacks. Second, it provides the perfect camouflage for your real moves. While everyone sees you as a benevolent force, you can execute your more ruthless strategies in the shadows. Your enemy ends up fighting your public image, a ghost, wasting their energy and exposing their own malice while you, the good person, watch them suffer. Remember, you aren't trying to be a good person. You're trying to be seen as a good person. In this game, the story that people believe is the only one that matters. Strategy 3. Be feared, but not hated of all Machiavelli's ideas. None is more famous or misunderstood than this. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Love, he said, is fickle. It's held by a chain of obligation that people will break whenever it suits them. Fear, however, is held by a dread of punishment that never fails. But he immediately adds a crucial warning. A leader must inspire fear in a way that, if he doesn't win love, he avoids hatred. Being feared makes you powerful. Being hated makes you a target. Your rival makes moves against you because they don't fear the consequences. They see you as an obstacle, not a threat. You're about to change that. The goal isn't to be a workplace bully who yells and threatens. That just creates hatred, which fuels plots against you. Instead, you'll cultivate a more powerful, impersonal fear. The fear of your competence and your decisiveness. First, build a reputation for ruthless efficiency. Your deadlines are absolute. Your no is final. When you lead a project, it succeeds. When someone on your team drops the ball, the consequence isn't a public shame in which breeds hatred but a swift, impersonal removal from a key role. The message is clear. Failure has a cost. People won't fear you, the person. They'll fear the consequences of failing to meet the standard you embody. It's a critical distinction. Second, when you have to punish, do it decisively and do it once. Machiavelli advises that if you must injure someone, you should do it in such a way that you don't have to fear their revenge. A half measure, a warning, a slap on the wristies, are the moves of a weak leader. They don't neutralize the threat. They create a wounded enemy who now has a vendetta. When your rival makes a move, your counterattack must end the fight. Don't just argue with them. Cut them off from the resources or allies they need. For example, if a rival is spreading lies to undermine you, don't just correct them. Expose the lie with such undeniable proof that their credibility is shattered. Not just on this issue, but on all future issues. The goal is to make the cost of attacking you so high that no one would ever consider it a second time. To avoid hatred, you have to follow two of Machiavelli's strict rules. Don't take their property, and don't touch their honor. In today's terms, never steal credit for their work, and never publicly humiliate them for sport. Your actions must always appear to serve a higher, impersonal goal: the project's success. The company's bottom line: the fear you create isn't the fear of a wild animal, but the cold, rational fear of a system of logic. They won't hate you, because your actions will seem just, even, if sebede. They'll simply learn that crossing you is a strategic mistake, and they'll stay out of your way. Strategy 4. Isolate your enemy. No one in power stands alone. Their strength doesn't just come from their own skills. It comes from their network. Allies, subordinates, and sources of information form the foundation that holds them up. Your rival is no different. They have supporters, people who feed them gossip, and people who depend on them. Your job is to dismantle that foundation, to methodically cut every cord of support until they are standing completely and utterly alone. As Machiavelli knew, the most devastating attack isn't a direct one, but quiet isolation. Your first step is to map your rival's network. Who do they eat lunch with? Who defends them in meetings? Who are their key allies? These people are your new targets. But you're not going to attack them. You're going to win them over or turn them against your rival. To win them over, you use strategy to master the art of perception. Be everything your rival isn't. If they're arrogant, you're humble. If they're secretive, you're open. Offer to help their allies. Compliment their work in front of others. Share a useful piece of information. You're positioning yourself as a more valuable and reliable partner. Over time, their loyalty will shift. They may not actively turn on your rival, but their support will cool, then disappear. When your rival reaches out for help, they'll find no one is there. To turn their allies against them, you become a master of insinuation. You never make a direct accusation. Instead, you ask carefully worded questions. For instance, you might say to one of your rival's colleagues, "I was so impressed with the data you put together for that report. It's a shame your rival got all the credit in the executive meeting." You've just planted a seed of resentment. Or tuano. Just be careful what you share with your rival. I heard something you told them in confidence repeated in another department. You're not lying. You're just reframing facts in a way that creates paranoia and discord. At the same time, you make it costly to be associated with your rival. As your own power and reputation for competence grows, people will naturally want to be on your team. Make it known that you reward loyalty. Those who align with you get brought into exciting projects and get access to better information. Those who stick with your increasingly isolated rival will find themselves on the losing side, tied to failure and shrinking influence. You aren't forcing anyone to choose. You're just making the choice painfully obvious. The final stage is when your rival, feeling their support structure crumble, becomes paranoid. They'll start to lash out, make mistakes, and accuse people unjustly, pushing away the few people they have left. And you'll be there, a pillar of calm, watching them orchestrate their own downfall. By the time they look around and realize they are completely alone, the battle is already over. Strategy 5. Control the flow of information in any power structure. Knowledge isn't just power. It's currency. It's leverage. Whoever controls what is known, when it's known, and who knows it, controls the entire game. A true Machiavellian doesn't crave the spotlight. They prefer to be the puppeteer in the shadows, pulling strings by carefully managing the flow of information. Your rival needs information to survive, to anticipate moves and manipulate situations. Your job is to turn their greatest weapon into their biggest liability. This strategy has 3 parts: hoarding, selective distribution, and disinformation. First, you become a black hole for critical information. While others are gossiping, you become a vault. Listen to everything. Reveal nothing of value. Your silence will be mistaken for wisdom, encouraging others to confide in you even more. You'll learn about upcoming projects, reorganizations, and conflicts before anyone else. This isn't for sharing. It's for you to anticipate threats and seize opportunities. While your rival is reacting to events, you'll be 5 steps ahead, having already positioned yourself to benefit from outcomes you saw coming. Second, you practice the art of selective distribution. Never share information freely. Before you tell anyone anything, ask yourself, what do I gain by telling this person this right now? You can use information to build an alliance by giving a colleague an early heads up on good news. You can test loyalty by sharing a minor secret and seeing if it spreads. Most importantly, you can use it to sabotage your rival. For instance, you might hopefully give them data that is technically accurate, but incomplete, leading them to draw the wrong conclusion and make a fool of themselves in a presentation. Or maybe you just forget to tell them a meeting's agenda has changed, making them look unprepared. Your hands are clean, you are just busy. The third and most advanced tactic is disinformation. This is dangerous, but devastating. It involves deliberately planting false information to mislead your enemy. Use it sparingly. The goal is to make your rival waste their time and resources chasing ghosts. For example, you might let slip to a known gossip that you're pursuing a certain strategy, when you're actually doing the exact opposite. Your rival will then scramble to counter a threat that doesn't exist, leaving your real objective completely undefended. The key is plausibility. The false information must be something your rival wants to believe, something that plays on their own paranoia. By combining these tactics, you starve your rival of the intelligence they need. They'll be making decisions based on rumors, incomplete data, and outright lies. They'll feel constantly out of the loop, breeding uncertainty and forcing them into a defensive crouch. You, on the other hand, operating with a crystal-clear picture of the landscape, can move with deadly precision. Strategy 6. Weaponize generosity in the calculus of power. Even kindness is a weapon. Most people think generosity is for building friendships. A Machiavellian knows its true purpose is to create obligation and establish dominance. Unsolicited favors aren't gifts, they're debts, and you are going to become your rival's biggest creditor. The amateur gives freely, hoping for friendship. The master gives strategically, ensuring dependency. Your goal is to trap your rival in a web of obligations so subtle they don't realize they're caught until they try to move against you. First, change your mindset. Every time you help someone, it's an investment. Before you offer assistance, calculate the return. Will this favor make them indebted to me? Will it give me leverage later? Will it make me look magnanimous, enhancing my reputation? If the answer is no, it's not worth doing. You're not running a charity. You're running a campaign. The execution is a masterclass. In subtlety, you see your rival struggling with a deadline? Don't just watch them fail. Step in at the last minute and offer a helping hand. Work late with them. Solve the problem they couldn't crack. Now, you haven't just saved them, you've demonstrated your superior skill and, most importantly, placed them in your debt. The next time you need them to back down in a meeting, their refusal will be colored by the guilt of that favor. You can even call it in, gently. Hey, I was happy to help you out of that jam last month, and I was hoping I could count on your support here. It will be incredibly difficult for them to say no. Extend this to their circle of influence. Be generous to their allies. Do they need data you have access to? Provide it quickly. These small acts cost you little but create a powerful network of people who feel obligated to you. This isolates your enemy and builds your own base of support. When a confrontation between you and your rival finally comes, these people will be far less likely to side against you. Their neutrality is your victory. An even more advanced tactic is to give a favor that screams authority. For example, introduce your rival to a senior executive, framing it as helping them get more visibility. You've just positioned yourself as the gatekeeper. You're not their peer. You're their patron. This act, disguised as kindness, is a clear demonstration of dominance. Your rival, like most people, will mistake this strategic generosity for genuine kindness. They'll see you as supportive, and that perception is your shield. They'll take your gifts, never realizing that each one comes with invisible strings. You're not buying their friendship. You're buying their compliance. Strategy 7. Strike first. Strike decisively. Machiavelli observed that problems are like diseases. At the beginning, they're easy to cure, but hard to detect. By the time they're easy to detect, they're nearly impossible to cure. This applies directly to your rivals. A rival's ambition, left unchecked, grows. A minor insult, ignored, escalates into a direct challenge. The master of power doesn't wait for threats to become obvious. They identify potential dangers early and neutralize them with such speed and decisiveness that the problem is gone before most people even knew it existed. Conventional wisdom says to avoid conflict and give people the benefit of the doubt. This is the logic of the sheep, and it ensures you will be devoured. You must adopt the logic of the predator. You must strike first. Your first task is to develop an extreme sensitivity to your environment. Learn to recognize the subtle signs of a threat. Did your rival just have a closed-door meeting with your boss? Did they volunteer for a project that overlaps with your responsibilities? Did they subtly question your data in a group email? These aren't small things. They are probes, testing your defenses. The average person ignores them. You will treat them as the first tremors of an earthquake. Once you identify a threat, you must act immediately. Delay is your enemy. The more time you give your rival, the more time they have to gather support and launch their attack on their own terms. Your goal is to win the confrontation before it even begins. Imagine you learn your rival is about to propose a new initiative that would make your project redundant, effectively sidelining you. The amateur waits for the official meeting and then tries to fight it publicly. The master strikes before the meeting is even on the calendar. You immediately draft a counterproposal, not a defense of your current project, but a bolder vision that absorbs and expands upon your rival's idea, but with you leading it. You pitch this vision to key decision-makers in one-on-one conversations. By the time your rival is ready to make their move, you've already redefined the battlefield. Their idea now looks small and late. You haven't just defended against their attack. You've used their own momentum to propel yourself forward. This preemptive strike must be decisive. As Machiavelli said, a conflict resolved halfway is a seed for future conflict. Your action can't just parry the thrust. It must disarm the opponent. When you act, you must remove their ability to threaten you again. This could mean discrediting their expertise, absorbing their resources, or maneuvering them into a position of You are initiating a conflict, but it's one you control. On your terms. Don't wait for the storm to break. Be the storm. Strategy 8. Never let a good crisis go to waste. In times of stability, power structures are rigid, but in a crisis, everything is up for grabs. Chaos creates opportunity. Fear and uncertainty shatter old loyalties and create a desperate need for strong leadership. While others are panicking, the Machiavellian sees a crisis not as a problem, but as a ladder. Your rival, like most people, is probably a creature of habit. A crisis, a failed project, a budget cut, a key executive suddenly quitting will throw them off balance. They will be confused, fearful, and slow to react. This is your moment. Your first move in any crisis is to project absolute calm. While everyone else is running around, you are the still point in the storm. You analyze the situation, you speak with authority, and you propose a clear plan. People are terrified of uncertainty. They will flock to anyone who can provide direction. By simply staying composed, you immediately position yourself as the natural leader. Next, you use the crisis to consolidate power. A crisis lets you take actions that would seem too drastic in normal times. Is there a rival department that's always in your way? The budget crisis is the perfect justification for a strategic restructuring that absorbs their resources into yours. Is there an incompetent colleague gumming up the works? The project's failure is the perfect chance to have them reassigned to a role that better suits their skills, removing them from your path. You frame these moves not as power grabs, but as necessary decisions for the greater good. You're not being ruthless. You're being a leader. A crisis is also the ultimate stage to demonstrate your superiority. While your rival is complaining or assigning blame, you are visibly and energetically fixing the problem. Longer. Be more visible. Provide constant updates to leadership, making yourself the center of the recovery effort. Use the chaos to take on responsibilities that were previously outside your authority. The emergency justifies your expanded role. By the time the crisis is over, those new responsibilities will have become permanent. You've enlarged your territory. Imagine a key client is furious over a mistake made by your rival's team. Your rival gets defensive. You do the opposite. You immediately call the client, take full responsibility on behalf of the company, which makes you look like a leader, and lay out a plan to fix it. working tirelessly until it's done. You've just turned your rival's failure into your personal triumph. You saved the account, became a hero to leadership, and fatally discredited your enemy in one move. Don't fear chaos. Welcome, Italiano. Strategy 9. Dismantle their power structures. Power is never just personal. It's structural. Your rival's influence isn't just about their skills. It's propped up by the systems and alliances they've built. Maybe they control a key committee, have exclusive access to information, or have a powerful protector in senior management. Attacking them directly is like trying to knock down a wall by punching one brick at a time. The Machiavellian approach is smarter. You don't attack the person, you dismantle the architecture of their power. You change the rules of the game so it's no longer rigged in their favor. First, identify the pillars supporting their authority. Does their power come from chairing the weekly project meeting? Your goal is to make that meeting irrelevant. Does their influence come from being the only one who understands a complex system? Your goal is to make that knowledge common. Does their strength come from a relationship with a specific executive? Your goal is to neutralize that relationship. Let's take the example of the committee meeting. Your rival uses it to control the narrative and undermine others. Don't challenge them in the meeting. That's their home turf. Instead, make the meeting obsolete. Start having pre-meetings with key people. Solve problems in smaller groups. By the time the main meeting happens, all the real decisions have already been made. Your rival is left chairing an empty ceremony, their platform for power rendered hollow. Now, consider the pillar of exclusive knowledge. Your rival is the go-to person, and they leverage that dependency. Your strategy is to create redundancy. Frame it to your boss as a risk. What would happen if your rival left? We have a major weakness here. Propose a plan to document their processes or cross-train other team members. You're not attacking your rival. You're mitigating risk for the company. But in doing so, you are systematically stripping them of their unique value. The most delicate pillar is a powerful patron. You can't attack the patron. Instead, you must either win them over or show them that their protege or rivalry is a bad investment. You win them over by becoming more valuable. Give the patron better information. Solve a problem for them. Make them look good. You become the better horse to back. To discredit your rival, you can use strategy 5. Ensuring the patron hears about your rival's mistakes through seemingly neutral third parties. By focusing on the systems of power, your actions look strategic, not personal. You're just improving processes. But the result is a total erosion of your rival's base. You aren't just winning the battle, you're changing the landscape to ensure someone like them can never take root there again. Strategy 10. Make your decisions alone. The final strategy is the most important. Trust your own judgment above all else. A Machiavellian leader understands that advice is a tool, not a crutch. You seek advice to gather information and to test people's intentions. But the final decision is made in the lonely sanctum of your own mind. To give up your decision-making authority to a committee or to rely too heavily on others is to become a prisoner of their agendas. Your rival, like most people, probably operates by consensus. They build coalitions and their decisions are often watered-down compromises designed to please everyone. This is a massive weakness. Group decisions are slow, safe, and predictable. Your strength will come from your ability to act with the speed and clarity that only a single commander your own mind can provide. First, master the art of consultative deception. You must appear to be collaborative. Actively seek out opinions, especially from your rival. Listen intently. Ask smart questions. Thank them for the valuable input. This does 3 things. You gather intelligence, you identify potential opposition, and you fulfill the social expectation of teamwork, which maintains your facade as a reasonable leader. But you must understand this is for intelligence gathering only. It is not for making the decision. Once you have the information, you retreat. You weigh the options in private, with your own strategic goals as the top priority. The advice you got is just one data point, and often the most biased one. Your colleagues will advise what's best for them. Your rival will advise what's worst for you. You must filter all of it through the cold lens of your own self-interest. Once you've made your decision, you present it not as your choice, but as the only logical conclusion from all the data and advice you gathered. You might say, after listening to everyone's perspective and looking at the data, it's clear that the only viable path forward is X. You are taking the solitary autocratic decision you made in private and framing it as the synthesis of the team's wisdom. This makes it almost impossible for anyone to object. How can they object to the supposed will of the group? This strategy lets you combine the advantages of autocracy, decisiveness, and vision with the political cover of democracy. While your rival is busy herding cats to build consensus for a mediocre plan, you are making bold moves and executing them flawlessly. This is the ultimate expression of power. It's knowing that at the end of the day, you are solely responsible for your own fate. Learn to trust your own counsel above all others. Seek advice, but never give up your authority. Listen to everyone. Answer to no one but yourself. These 10 strategies are your new playbook. They are the rules to a game you didn't even know you were playing, but knowing isn't enough. Power is forged in action. Which of these strategies hits closest to home for the battle you're facing right now? Which weapon will you pick up first? Let me know in the comments. Your war stories are the lessons for everyone else here. And if you're ready to continue your education in the art of power, make sure you like this video and subscribe. The world is a battlefield, and your training has only just begun. The path we've talked about today isn't for the faint of heart. It's a break from the comfortable lies we're told about fairness and merit. The truth is, power is not given. It is taken. The strategies of Machiavelli are not a descent into darkness. They are an ascent into the cold, clear light of reality. They are the tools you need to defend yourself in a world that is often hostile and unforgiving. You felt the sting of betrayal, the frustration of being undermined, the injustice of watching someone else take credit for your work. That ends today. The choice is yours. You can keep playing the victim, abiding by rules your enemies ignore, and just hoping that things will work out. Or you can decide to win. You can become the architect of your own life, a student of power who is both feared and respected. You can be the fox that sees the trap, and the lion that scatters the wolves. Don't see these strategies as cruel. See them as necessary. The world respects strength, not weakness. Your rival is not your friend. Your career is not a game. It's a war for relevance, for security, and for the future you deserve. Go now and claim your victory. Do not apologize for your ambition. Do not hesitate in your execution. Win at any cost.